Ladies and gentlemen, we are wired for connection. From the moment we take our first breath, we seek out warmth, understanding, and belonging. Relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, are the lifeblood of our human experience. But how often do we pause to assess if those around us truly care for us? Today, I want to share with you 4 signs that someone may not genuinely care about you. These aren't meant to breed suspicion or cynicism, but rather to inspire self-reflection and empower you to seek connections that nurture your soul and honor your worth. Actions speak louder than words. You've probably heard the phrase, talk is cheap. When someone truly cares, their words align with their actions. They don't just say, I'll be there for you. They show up consistently and reliably. Care is not a performance, it's an unspoken promise fulfilled in everyday moments. But when someone says they care and yet their actions contradict their words, canceling plans repeatedly, ignoring your needs, or making excuses, you must listen to the louder message. It's not about their words, it's about their patterns. Trust what you see, not what you want to believe. Emotional unavailability. True care involves vulnerability, a willingness to be open, even when it's uncomfortable. When someone avoids deep conversations, dismisses your feelings, or shuts down when emotions run high, it's a sign that their connection to you might lack depth. We all have walls, but someone who truly cares will work to lower theirs and help you lower yours. They'll make space for your pain and celebrate your joy, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Emotional availability is not optional in meaningful relationships. Disregard for boundaries. Boundaries are not barriers, they are invitations for respect. When someone ignores your limits, whether it's your time, your values, or your emotional capacity, they're signaling that their needs and desires take precedence over yours. Someone who cares will honor your boundaries. Even if they don't fully understand them, they'll ask questions and adjust, rather than push or guilt you into bending. The absence of this respect should be a red flag. Love and care thrive in mutual respect, not in manipulation or control. Absence in moments of need. When life gets hard, you quickly learn who's truly in your corner. The people who care deeply will show up, whether it's with a listening ear, helping hand, or just their presence. But if someone is consistently absent during your darkest hours, that speaks volumes. Care isn't about being there only when it's fun or convenient, it's about being there when it's tough, messy, and real. Pay attention to who remains when the spotlight fades. Conditional relationships. Lastly, genuine care is unconditional. It doesn't hinge on your achievements, your appearance, or how much you can offer in return. When someone truly cares, they see your value as inherent and treat you with love and kindness simply because you are you. If you find that someone's affection or attention wavers depending on how well you meet their expectations, that relationship may be rooted in selfishness, not care. Unconditional relationships don't demand, they accept. Recognizing these signs isn't about judging others harshly or burning bridges, it's about setting yourself free. Free from relationships that drain you and hold you back. Free to cultivate connections that uplift and empower you. You deserve care that is authentic, love that is unconditional, and relationships that feed your soul. And the first step to finding those is learning to let go of anything less. So I ask you, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are they lifting you higher or holding you down? You have the power to choose, and that choice can change everything. We all know the saying, actions speak louder than words, but how often do we truly stop and listen to what people's actions are telling us? In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the promises, the sweet words, and the comfort of being told what we want to hear. But the truth is, words are fleeting. They can be easy to say and hard to keep. Actions, on the other hand, have weight. They have substance. They reveal our true intentions, our priorities, and our commitment. When someone says, I care about you, but their actions don't align with those words, we need to pay attention. Love, respect, and care are shown in the ways we show up for each other. It's in the small gestures, the everyday choices that reveal who someone really is and how deeply they care. It's not just about grand gestures or big promises, it's about the consistency, the reliability, and the thoughtfulness of how they treat you when no one else is watching. How do they treat you on the hard days? How do they handle your struggles? Are they willing to be there when it's not convenient or when you don't have anything to offer in return? You see, the truth comes out in the quiet moments, the moments when they could easily walk away but choose to stay. True care is found in showing up for you when you need it most, even if it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or hard to do. It's in the text message after a tough day, the shoulder to lean on, or the simple act of listening when you need someone to hear your heart. It's in their willingness to sacrifice their time, their comfort, or their plans because they value you more than anything else in that moment. Words can be beautiful and compelling, but they are not the foundation of trust. Trust is built on actions. Trust is built on showing up time and time again, regardless of the circumstances. Trust is built on the person who doesn't need to tell you how much they care because they've already demonstrated it in countless ways through their presence, their consistency, and their willingness to be vulnerable with you. When someone's actions consistently back up their words, that's where true connection is formed. That's when you know you can rely on them, that they mean what they say. Because in the end, actions tell us more about a person's heart than anything that comes out of their mouth. And those actions, those small, everyday acts of care and commitment are what ultimately build the kind of relationships that are worth holding on to. So next time someone tells you how much they care, don't just listen to their words, watch their actions. Because the person who genuinely cares won't need to tell you, they'll show you, time and time again. Emotional unavailability is one of the most subtle yet damaging signs that someone might not truly care about you. It's easy to mistake silence, distance, or avoidance for something else, something we might want to believe. Maybe they're just busy, maybe they're just stressed, maybe they're going through their own things. But when this behavior becomes a pattern, it's not just a phase, it's a reflection of how someone truly feels about being emotionally present for you. True care is rooted in emotional availability. It's about being open to one another, allowing vulnerability to flow freely, and not shutting each other out when it's most needed. Think about the times in your life when you were struggling, when the weight of the world seemed too much to bear, and what you needed more than anything was someone who could see you, hear you, and above all, be with you. Emotional availability means showing up, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, and even when your own emotions feel too raw or overwhelming. When someone is emotionally unavailable, it feels like you're speaking to a wall. You reach out hoping for a connection, a response that shows you're not alone in your feelings. But instead, you're met with a coldness or indifference that pushes you farther away. The person you thought would be there for you in your darkest moments is nowhere to be found, or worse, they deflect, change the subject, or simply shut down. This isn't about personal space, it's about emotional neglect. Being emotionally available means embracing the discomfort of the unknown, being willing to dive deep into someone's heart and mind, even if it's not always easy or pleasant. It's about being there in the mess, the confusion, the uncertainty. Someone who truly cares will create a safe space for you to express your fears, your frustrations, and your joys without the fear of judgment or rejection. But emotional unavailability doesn't just show up in moments of crisis, it's present in the everyday interactions too. It's the failure to listen when you speak, the lack of interest in how your day went, or the refusal to engage when something significant to you is happening. Emotional unavailability can be a form of emotional withholding, where someone makes it clear that they aren't ready or willing to meet you where you are. This doesn't mean that everyone needs to be emotionally available at all times. We all have our boundaries and our moments of retreat. But emotional unavailability becomes a problem when it's consistent, when it becomes the norm, and when it's clear that the person is unwilling or unable to show up for you in the ways that matter most. It's a sign that the connection is not as deep or as real as it could be, and it leaves you feeling isolated, unheard, and unimportant. True care isn't about having the perfect response or knowing exactly what to say. It's about being present, being willing to engage, and creating a safe space where emotions can flow freely without fear of rejection. If someone truly cares, They will show up in those moments, both the big, dramatic ones and the small, quiet ones, and let you know that your emotions matter, that you matter. Emotional availability isn't just a trait, it's an investment. It's the decision to be vulnerable, to meet someone where they are, and to offer your full self, not just the easy parts. When someone is emotionally unavailable, it's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their inability or unwillingness to meet you in the depths of your own heart. So when you find yourself in a relationship where emotional availability is lacking, it's time to recognize it for what it is and ask yourself, do I deserve to be with someone who isn't willing to show up for me, heart and soul? Boundaries are often misunderstood. They are not walls we build to keep people out, but rather markers of respect, self-awareness, and self-care. They are the invisible lines that define who we are, what we need, and what we will accept from others. When someone disregards your boundaries, they are not only violating your personal space, they are telling you that your needs, your values, and your well-being are secondary to theirs. This disregard doesn't just hurt, it erodes trust, undermines respect, and slowly chips away at your sense of self-worth. Think about the last time you felt someone overstepping your boundaries. Perhaps they pushed you to share more than you were comfortable with, ignored your requests for personal space, or disrespected your limits, thinking their desires were more important than your own. Maybe it wasn't even something they said, but something they did, a constant neediness that drained your energy, an intrusion into your private moments, or a pattern of belittling your feelings. What does that do to you? How does it make you feel when your no is not heard, when your I need space is ignored, when your boundaries are dismissed as if they don't matter? We all need boundaries to thrive. They are what help us stay grounded, focused, and mentally healthy. They define the space where we can breathe, think, and grow without fear of being suffocated or overwhelmed by the demands of others. But when someone continually disregards your boundaries, they send a powerful message: I don't value you enough to respect what you need. This isn't just a sign of carelessness, it's a reflection of how they view you and your place in their life. If they can't respect the most fundamental parts of who you are, then they don't truly care about your well-being. Boundaries are not selfish, they are acts of self-respect. They show the world how you want to be treated and teach others how to treat you with dignity. The problem arises when people feel entitled to ignore or challenge your boundaries because they want something from you. They might tell you that you're too sensitive, that you're overreacting, or that you're being unreasonable for wanting to protect yourself. But the reality is, your boundaries are not up for debate. They are not negotiable. They are non-negotiable lines that keep your mental and emotional health intact. When your boundaries are disregarded, the impact goes beyond frustration. It affects your trust in others, and over time can lead to deep feelings of resentment. You begin to question whether your needs are truly important to the people around you. The more someone pushes, the more you may feel like you're losing yourself in the process. Every time they ignore your boundaries, they chip away at your sense of self-respect and self-worth, leaving you feeling small, insignificant, and powerless. But here's the truth: you have every right to set boundaries. You have every right to define what you will and will not accept in your life. Boundaries are an act of love, not just for yourself, but for the people you care about. Because when you respect your own limits, you create a space for others to do the same. You teach people how to honor you, how to show up for you, and how to understand that your needs are just as important as theirs. When you allow your boundaries to be disregarded, you are not only doing a disservice to yourself, but to the relationship itself. Because real connection, real love, and real care can only flourish when both people are respected enough to stand firm in their needs. When someone disregards your boundaries, it's not just a simple mistake, it's a warning. It's a red flag telling you that this relationship is not balanced, that this person may not value you the way you deserve to be valued. And if you continue to let that person ignore your boundaries, you risk losing the most important thing, your own sense of self. So the next time someone oversteps, don't be afraid to say no, to stand firm in your needs, and to protect your peace. because you are worth the respect of your boundaries. You are worthy of love that honors your limits, and you deserve relationships that nurture your well-being rather than diminish it. There are few things more painful than realizing that someone who claims to care about you isn't there when you need them most. It's in those moments of vulnerability, when life feels like it's falling apart, that we truly understand the depth of a connection. We look to those we trust for support, for comfort, and for reassurance that we are not alone. But when they are absent, when they pull away, or simply don't show up, it sends a powerful message, one that can be difficult to hear: you're not a priority. It's easy to be there when everything is going well, when the sun is shining and life feels easy. But true relationships, whether they're friendships, family bonds, or romantic connections, are tested in the moments of crisis. It's when the storms of life hit that we begin to see who is truly invested in us, who is committed to standing by us when the going gets tough. And yet, how often do we find ourselves reaching out, hoping for a hand to hold, only to be met with silence or indifference? The absence in those moments is not just physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual. It's the feeling of being abandoned by someone who promised to always be there, yet fails to show up when you need them the most. It's the emptiness that grows inside you as you realize that your pain is not being acknowledged, your struggles are being ignored, and your needs are being disregarded. It's in these moments that we are reminded of the fragility of connections, and sometimes it forces us to face the uncomfortable truth: maybe their care wasn't as deep as we thought it was. But here's the thing: absence in moments of need speaks volumes, but it doesn't define you. It doesn't mean that you're unworthy of care, love, or support. It's a reflection of the other person's limitations or unwillingness to meet you where you are. When someone is absent when you need them most, it can be a sign that they are emotionally unavailable, that they're unable or unwilling to be vulnerable with you, or that they simply don't know how to show up for you in the way that you need. But none of this diminishes your value. The real challenge, however, is not in the absence of others, it's in how we respond to it. When we face the silence of those who promise to stand by us, we are given an opportunity to choose how we show up for ourselves. In those moments, we must lean into our own strength, our own resilience, and our own ability to heal. We must remember that our worth is not determined by someone else's ability to be there for us, but by our own commitment to showing up for ourselves. Sense in moments of need can be painful, but it also offers a powerful lesson in self-reliance and self-love. It teaches us that while others may not always be there, we have the power to find our own strength, to draw upon the support systems that truly lift us up, and to rebuild ourselves in the face of adversity. It forces us to see that we are not defined by the presence or absence of others, but by the resilience we carry within ourselves. When someone is absent during your most difficult times, it can leave you questioning everything: the relationship, your worth, and your ability to trust again. But the real power lies in what you choose to do next. Don't let their absence define the way you view yourself. Instead, use it as an opportunity to build your own inner strength, to show yourself the love and support that you so freely give to others. You are enough with or without their presence. Your worth is not determined by who shows up in your life, but by the love and resilience you carry within yourself. So, while the absence of someone in your moments of need may hurt, let it be a reminder that you are the one who truly holds the power to heal, to grow, and to rise above. And in the process, you'll find that the people who genuinely care about you will be the ones who show up not when it's convenient, but when you need them most. Conditional relationships can often feel like a breath of fresh air when they first begin. In the beginning, everything seems perfect. There's laughter, there's connection, and there's a sense of belonging. But over time, the true nature of a conditional relationship begins to reveal itself. And that's when the cracks start to appear. In these relationships, love, care, and support seem to be contingent upon certain conditions, whether it's how you behave, what you give, or even how much you conform to the other person's expectations. It's as if your worth is tied to what you can offer, rather than who you truly are. When love is conditional, It often feels like you're walking on eggshells. You start to wonder, will they still care about me if I don't act a certain way? Will they still want me in their life if I stop being who they want me to be? The anxiety that comes with constantly trying to meet someone's conditions can be exhausting. You might find yourself sacrificing pieces of yourself, your values, your desires, your dreams, just to maintain the relationship. But the deeper truth is, no relationship should require you to lose yourself in the process. You deserve love and connection that is not based on conditions. That is not tied to your ability to meet someone else's expectations. A conditional relationship is like an exchange, a transaction, rather than a genuine bond. It's based on a set of unwritten rules, often unspoken but deeply felt. You may not realize it at first, but over time you begin to feel like a pawn in someone else's game. They may love you only when you give them what they want. They may show affection when it benefits them, but withdraw when things aren't going their way. And in the end, you may feel more like a tool for their happiness than an equal partner in the relationship. But here's the thing, you are not a transaction. You are not a tool for someone else's satisfaction. You are a whole person deserving of unconditional love, of being accepted for who you are, not for what you can provide or how well you can meet someone else's standards. The truth is, we all want to feel seen, heard, and valued just for existing, not for what we do. In unconditional relationships, the love doesn't come with strings attached. It doesn't ebb and flow with your success or failure. It's constant, steady, and unwavering no matter what challenges you face. When you find yourself in a relationship where love and care are conditional, it's important to reflect on what you're truly receiving. Is this relationship helping you grow? Is it empowering you to be your true self? Or is it making you shrink, adjust, and constantly question your worth? A conditional relationship, while it might feel comfortable or familiar, often leaves you with a sense of uncertainty. You're always wondering if you're enough, always questioning whether your love is enough to keep the other person in your life. And this cycle of doubt is not healthy. It's draining. The challenge in a conditional relationship is that it often takes a long time to realize what's happening. You might think it's just a phase, that things will get better with time, but over time you begin to feel like you're never truly accepted for who you are. And that takes a toll. Your self-esteem suffers, your confidence weakens, and your spirit starts to feel smaller, quieter, and less certain. But remember, you have the power to change the narrative. You have the power to set boundaries, to walk away, and to choose relationships that celebrate who you are, not just what you can offer. True love is not about conditionally accepting someone when it suits you. True love is about acceptance, compassion, and support, regardless of the circumstances. It's about standing by someone not because of what they can give you in return, but because you truly care for their well-being, their happiness, and their growth. Unconditional love is about seeing someone for who they are, flaws and all, and still choosing them over and over again. When you're in a relationship where the love is unconditional, there's no need to perform, no need to bend yourself into shapes that don't fit just to earn affection. You are enough as you are. And it's in this space of acceptance that real connection happens. It's in this kind of relationship that you can truly be yourself, vulnerable, honest, and free. You can stand in your truth without fear of rejection, knowing that the love you're receiving isn't tied to how you behave or what you do, but to the essence of who you are. If you find yourself in a conditional relationship, it's time to pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, am I being loved for who I am or for what I can give? You deserve to be surrounded by people who love you for your full, authentic self without conditions, without limitations, and without strings attached. Anything less isn't love at all. In the end, the relationships that truly matter are those built on mutual respect, understanding, and unconditional love. You deserve to be loved for who you are, not for what you can offer, not for what you can do, but simply because you are enough. Conditional relationships may feel safe or familiar, but they will never give you the freedom to be your authentic self. True connection comes when we are accepted fully, flaws and all, when love flows freely and without hesitation. Don't settle for anything less than the love that lifts you up, the love that celebrates you in your entirety, and the love that remains steady no matter the circumstances. You are worthy of relationships that empower you, inspire you, and remind you that you are enough, just as you are. So choose love that is whole, choose love that is true, and choose relationships that nourish your soul.